My child suddenly fell ill. I held her and hurried to the hospital to register. When I saw the name of the pediatrician, my heart skipped a beat. Zhu Qian, exactly the same as my ex-boyfriend's name. I comforted myself secretly that it might just be a coincidence. But when the man in the consulting room asked, "Are you married?" I froze instantly. The baby was restless because of the disinfectant smell in the hospital. I patted her back gently to soothe her. Hearing that sentence, I suddenly looked up at him. He was wearing a mask and I didn't eyes him for a moment until our eyes met. And I confirmed it was really him. "Yes, I'm married," I said, pretending to be calm, with a hint of deliberate alienation in my tone. Zhu Qian lowered his head slowly, his voice low. "I'm sorry." "No need to say sorry. Thank you for not marrying me 2 years ago. I'm very happy now." As soon as the words came out, the consulting room fell into dead silence, so quiet that it was terrifying. Walking out of the hospital gate, I couldn't help it anymore, and tears swirled in my eyes. After 2 years, seeing this person whom I once gave my heart to again, my mood was too complicated to put into words. On the bus, I looked at the little face in my arms that was very similar to Zukion, and my thoughts drifted back to many years ago. Zukion and I were college classmates. I was the monitor, and he was the vice monitor. Frequent contact made us gradually develop feelings for each other. On New Year's Eve, he stood downstairs at the girls' dormitory with a loudspeaker and shouted in front of everyone, "When Lee, I like you, will you be my girlfriend?" There were heart-shaped candles downstairs, and the onlookers kept booing. I was both shy and anxious, so I called him and told him to leave quickly, but he insisted that I agree first. Okay, I agree. You put away the things first, and I'll come down right away." I compromised helplessly, but I didn't expect him to turn on the speakerphone. Everyone heard my answer, and our relationship was made public, becoming the model couple envied by everyone in the class. We made an appointment to go from school uniforms to wedding dresses. After graduation, we worked in the same hospital and rented a small house near the hospital, living a stable life of 3 meals a day and for seasons. One day, Zhu Qian gently stroked the broken hair on my forehead. "Let's meet the parents in a while and plan the engagement." I agreed without hesitation and immediately called my father. The father on the other end of the phone was extremely excited and quickly asked me when I would be back. On the weekend, we bought fruits and supplements. Zhu Qian specially asked me what kind of wine my father liked to drink. I told him that after my mother passed away, my father never drank again. I was only 3 years old when my mother died, and my father never remarried, raising me alone all these years. Zhu Qian stroked my hair and said softly, "It's okay. I'll be here from now on." At that moment, I felt that I was the happiest person in the world. After driving for more than 3 hours, we finally got home. And my father had been waiting at the door. I took Zhu Qian's arm and went forward to greet him, but when my father saw Zhu Qian, the smile in his eyes disappeared instantly, and his tone became cold. "Come in first. It's cold outside." After entering the house, I took slippers for Zhu Qian, and was about to introduce them to each other when my father spoke first. "You are Zhu Qian, right? Is your mother named Lenya?" Zhu Qian was stunned for a moment, then nodded yes. "Uncle, my mother is named Lenya, and my father is named Zhu Chang." Hearing this, my father suddenly stood up, his face solemn, grabbed Zhu Qian's arm, and shouted sharply, "Get out of this house. I will never allow you to date my daughter." Both Zhu Qian and I were dumbfounded. I tried my best to pull my father, begging him to talk nicely, but my father was firm and pushed Zhu Qian out of the door. Zhu Qian kept knocking on the door outside. I wanted to open it, but was stopped by my father. I held back my tears and asked my father why he did this. My father shouted with red eyes, "Just because he is the son of the murderer who killed your mother." I was struck like lightning, froze in place, and my mind went blank. I only knew that my mother died in a car accident, but I never knew there was such a hidden story behind it. In the evening, I walked into my father's study with a disturbed mood and begged him to tell me the truth. My father sighed and slowly told the past. When I was a child, Zukyon's family was our neighbor. My mother and Linya were as close as sisters, and they even made a baby marriage for us. When I was 3 years old, Linya had just obtained her driver's license and was excited to take my mother out for a drive. My father initially disagreed, but couldn't resist their pleading, and finally agreed. That afternoon, it suddenly began to rain cats and dogs. My father called my mother repeatedly but got no answer. So he went out to look for her with Zukyon's father, entrusting Zukyon and me to my grandmother. On Huashing Bridge they saw Linya's new car. My mother died on the spot in a car accident, but Linya survived by luck. Since then, my father has hated the Zhu family deeply. Soon after, the Zhu family moved away. This truth hit me hard. I couldn't accept that the mother of the person I loved deeply was the one who indirectly killed my mother. After that, I refused all of Zukyon's requests to meet. We quarreled constantly and the conflicts became more and more intense. Finally, I broke up with him. Zukyon asked me angrily, and I said hurtful words in a fit of anger. I don't love you anymore. I just think you are suitable for marriage. Shortly after breaking up, I found out I was pregnant. My father asked me to abort the child, but I couldn't bear it and decided to have the child alone. I heard that Zukyon went abroad for further studies, and I didn't plan to tell him about the pregnancy. He said such things, and he didn't deserve to be the child's father. After 10 months of pregnancy, I gave birth to a daughter named Yan. Everyone said that she looked exactly like Zukyon. That day when I got home from the hospital, the doorbell suddenly rang. I thought it was a neighbor borrowing something. But when I opened the door, I saw Zukyon. I subconsciously closed the door, but he stopped it with his hand. How did you find here? I asked impatiently, but I was very flustered, afraid that he would find out about Yan. Chen Yao Yao told me, he said. Chen Yao Yao was our mutual friend, who had always hoped we would get back together. For the sake of being classmates, I let him enter the house. He looked around and asked if I lived alone. I hurriedly made up a lie. I divorced my husband and raised the child alone. As soon as I said it, I regretted it, but it was already irreversible. Zukyon looked at me, with a hint of compassion in his eyes, but I deliberately avoided his gaze. Just then, Yan's cry came from the room. I hurried to hold the child. Zukyon stretched out his hand, wanting to hug her, but I refused subconsciously. The child is afraid of strangers. I held Yan and walked around him, putting her on the rocking chair. Zukyon withdrew his hand, looking a little lost. You go back, I said coldly, not wanting to have any more involvement with him. I still remembered the harsh words he said back then. But in the next few days, Zukyon came to my house every day on the pretext of worrying about the child's condition. He entered the house without my consent, talking and playing with building blocks with Yan. Yan liked him very much, calling him uncle, in a childish voice. Looking at them getting along, I was a little shaken. Maybe he could really be a good father, but I still couldn't forgive his words back then. Zukyon invited me to a class reunion, and I refused outright. I won't go. I have to take care of the child. At the same time, I told him not to come to see Yan again. He stood up and left silently. I could see that he was angry, but I had no choice. In the class group, the classmates were all planning the reunion, frequently mentioning me and Zukyon. After thinking about it repeatedly, I agreed. After all, they were classmates I hadn't seen for many years, and it would be rude not to go. The night before the reunion, Zukyon called me. I didn't want to answer, so I directly blocked him. But soon, my father called, saying that Zukyon couldn't contact me and called him. He also advised me to let go of the past, saying that Zukyon was after all Yan's biological father. I was confused, not understanding why my father suddenly helped Zukyon. I tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. Finally, I pulled Zukyon out of the blacklist and asked him to meet me at the coffee shop near the hospital the next day. The next day, I arranged for Yan arrived at the coffee shop half an hour early, and ordered a coconut latte in college. I didn't like coffee, but I gradually fell in love with it because Soo-Kyun liked it. Soo-Kyun arrived in time. Seeing the coffee on the table, he smiled and said, "So you still remember my preference?" "I ordered it casually," I said stubbornly, then asked him why my father helped him. Soo-Kyun didn't hide anything, telling me that he had been in contact with my father since he went abroad, and also Ray Minus investigated the car accident back then, clarifying that Linya's mistake was unintentional. My father gradually let go of his hatred and figured it out. After speaking, he held my hand tightly, his eyes full of expectation. "Can we get back together?" I pulled my hand back hard and stood up to leave. No. On the day of the reunion, the nanny suddenly asked for leave. I really had no one to take care of Yan, so I had to take her to the KTV with me. When the classmates saw Yan, they were very surprised, teasing me for having a child secretly, and asking why Soo-Kyun didn't come. Just then, Soo-Kyun pushed the door in. The classmates booed. "Soo-Kyun, why did you come so late? Your wife and child are waiting for you." Both Soo-Kyun and I were dumbfounded. I quickly explained, "This is my child with my ex-husband, not Soo-Kyun's." The private room suddenly fell silent. The counselor couldn't stand it anymore, picked up Yan, and said with a smile, "You to stop making trouble. This child is obviously Soo-Kyun's." Soo-Kyun touched his nose and said awkwardly, "I was joking. She is really my daughter." I didn't refute, not wanting to make the counselor angry. In the middle of the party, I went to the bathroom to touch up my makeup. As soon as I went out, I was dragged to the corner by Soo-Kyun and pressed against the wall. "Is she my daughter?" He looked firm, with a hint of eagerness in his tone. "No," I said. "No." I turned my head to avoid his gaze, feeling a little guilty. "Then why does she look exactly like me?" He pressed, gently rubbing my sore neck, his tone softening. I couldn't break free, so I let him hold my hand and returned to the private room. After the reunion, Soo-Kyun took the initiative to send us home. The counselor also told him to take good care of his wife and child. He smiled and agreed, but I secretly complained about his shamelessness. When I got home, I put Yan to sleep. When I came out, I found Soo-Kyun still sitting on the sofa. Before I could speak, he stood up and hugged me in his arms, resting his chin on my shoulder, his voice hoarse. "Honey, can we get back together?" I could feel his trembling, and even heard his suppressed crying. "Soo-Kyun, you said you didn't love me back then," I said, holding back my emotions. "I'm sorry." It was all angry words. "I never stopped loving you," he apologized, crying, calling me honey repeatedly, begging me to forgive him. Looking at his helpless appearance, thinking about the grievances and longing over the years, and Yan's longing for her father's love, I finally softened my heart and hugged him back. "It depends on your performance." Since then, Soo-Kyun came to my house every day, taking good care of me and Yan. Yan became more and more dependent on him, but still called him uncle. He asked to stay many times, but I refused. Until one night, I took the initiative to hug him. "Don't leave tonight." "Okay." His eyes were full of surprise and he nodded vigorously. After Yan fell asleep, Soo-Kyun carried me back to the guest room. His hot breath sprayed on my neck. Just as he was about to kiss me, I reached out to stop him. "Wait a minute, actually, you are Yan's biological father." Soo-Kyun was instantly stunned, then excitedly grabbed my hand, confirming repeatedly, "Really? Is Yan really my daughter?" I nodded with a smile, and he laughed loudly, but tears oozed from the corners of his eyes. "Thank you, honey. You've worked hard." He kissed me affectionately and said softly, "Shall we have a younger brother for Yan?" Before I could answer, he kissed me. Early the next morning, Soo-Kyun pulled me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a marriage certificate. Going around in circles after many twists and turns, we finally returned to each other. This time, we will take Yan and live happily ever after.